good afternoon. We have a very special guest on the CanDo Podcast, Mahi Jariwala. She is 9 years old. I would say a savant, not only in basketball, but with podcasts. She has done an amazing job. She has created the She Can Ball podcast, and we're going to get into it. Mahi, thanks for coming on the show today. It's really incredible. I've had lots of guests and had the great fortune, but nobody has caught my eye like you have, and I'm just so excited to have you on. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Of course, I appreciate the opportunity.
It's wonderful. Tell me about the podcast and what the goal is. I mean, you've had conversations with inspirational basketball leaders. Like I said, you're a basketball savant. You just kind of, entrench yourself in the game. There's a real passion for it. Tell me how this all got started.
Yes, I mean, it was a mixture of two things. First of all, I've really been a huge follower of storytelling and a big believer in that people's stories can be extremely inspiring to others. I learned that firsthand when I listened to Steph Curry's story when I was in fourth grade. I was like the last player on my CYOB team. And I listened to Steph Curry's story about kind of being underrated in high school and not always being that best player. And so that really inspired me to keep working hard. And I listened to his story that he worked hard and he kind of made it to the league and he became the player he is today by working hard. And so that inspired me as like a little fourth grade girl. And so I knew that if I could interview more people and share more people's stories, that could resonate with more people. And that's my goal with She Can Ball, to kind of share the stories of leaders in our basketball community and share that with young girls that are looking to pursue basketball at a high level.
That's great, guys. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about her Rolodex of folks that she's had on. First, I want to go with her most recent interviewee, Kate Scott, who's the play-by-play announcer of the Philadelphia 76ers. Then we've got Phil Hanley, an assistant basketball coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And then we've got Monique Billings, a WNBA star. How in the heck did you get all these people? Tell me the story. It's so great. We use the word inspiring all the time. But then, like, when I came across your story, I was like, this young lady is absolutely incredible. Tell me how you got these people.
Yeah, so I mean, finding guests is really a mixture of reaching out to them through Instagram DM and then cold emailing them. And so Kate Scott, I sent her a DM. Phil Handy, I sent him a DM, and I believe Monique Billings, I ended up sending an email and she responded to mine. The success, like the response rate hasn't been very high, and I reach out to a lot of people and I won't always get that many responses, but for every 15 I reach out to, I'll get one response, and that one response makes it all worth it.
I mean, the pure hustle and inspiration is just a credit to you and a credit to your work ethic. Tell me about your journey about basketball. Where does the passion come from?
Yeah, so my older sister played basketball, and I mean, as a younger sister, I think we always like to copy whatever they do. So I kind of just went for it. She ended up quitting after a few years, but I had a really good coach that just brought out a passion in me and really made me realize that I love basketball and I wanted to continue pursuing it. So while my sister ended up quitting, I kept going, and right now I play for the varsity basketball team at school. So basketball has been a big deal to me. I think it's a big part of my life because it takes up so much time and it's taught me so much. And it's something that I truly enjoy doing. And I think a lot of people at this age, if they don't play sports, it's kind of hard to find those things that you're extremely passionate about. And so basketball has just been something that I've been able to put time into and something that I've felt passionate about. And something that I enjoy doing so much. So it's really incredible.
We have a lot in common. Number one, I'm extremely passionate about people and reaching out to people and connecting. And I obviously love the conversation today, but I can remember as a young kid being 10 years old, like literally, like when the Detroit Pistons would play, I would know that it's a Tuesday and they play at 7. And I get home from school to get my homework done so that I could watch every play and study every player. Who are the players today that inspire you the most? You talk about Steph Curry, and what are some of the players that you try to pattern your podcast off of, or your game? Or tell me about some of your role models growing up?
Yes, I mean, Steph Curry is definitely up there. I mean, I think I've really, on my game is I'm a big shooter, and I think a lot of that comes from watching Steph Curry and watching him play. Um, I would also say a big role model for me was my older sister. I mean, not only did she kind of introduce me to the game of basketball, but I think as far as, it's doing things that, you might not, is not accustomed to at a young age. I mean, she's someone who's kind of set that role model for me. She was someone who really did things, didn't really matter what her age was. She was kind of accomplishing whatever she wanted to do. And she never thought of, well, how old do normal people who do this are. She just did what she was passionate about. And that's what honestly inspired me to start the podcast, being 14, wanting to do something for the women's basketball community.
Great. What do you see like is next on your horizon for the podcast? Tell me about that. And I know I can tell already put in a lot of thoughts. I can already tell that you're extremely goal oriented and you never sit down for a minute to even breathe. I love your work ethic and your passion. Talk to me about what your plans are for, just the podcast in general going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the number one goal right now is to just get as many episodes out and increase my fan base. I mean, I really make this to help inspire young female athletes. And I'm finding that there's a lot of people that love to, listen to my podcast and they end up gaining something from it. So it's just about creating more content and then doing what I can to really increase that listenership and get more people inspired by She Can Bowl.
That's great. And talk about, for me, you said you're on the varsity basketball team. What year of high school are you in now?
I'm a sophomore.
Great. And how's your season going so far, or how did it go?
It's been good. I mean, it's been definitely a little bit rough because of COVID. I mean, we were supposed to play this week and 2 of our games got canceled. So it's definitely been hard. Even freshman year, we had like a 7-game season. So COVID definitely made things really, really hard, but we're definitely making the most of it. And it's been really fun so far.
That's great. Talk about your preparation for the game and getting ready. How do you handle nerves and the preparation, the practice? I can tell you're a real student of the game because of your podcast. Just, how do you deal with all that? And who are some of obviously you work with your coaches. Talk to me about your coaches and how they played a role in shaping who you are today.
Yeah, I mean, I think my coaches, whether that be right now in high school or just, growing up as a kid playing basketball, I think coaches change everything. And I think my sister is someone who didn't have the best coaches, and that's kind of why she ended up quitting the game. But I had really great coaches that kind of just kept me going and really inspired me to keep playing basketball. And I think that's really what you need at a young age. And, now my coaches right now are truly incredible. They just do a really great job with all of us girls, and they really try to make sure that each and every one of us is doing what we can best to help the team win the games. And so they've just been really good in our developmental process.
At what age did you pick up a basketball?
I started playing basketball for a league when I was 9 years old.
Right. And what did you think about it at first? Was it love at first sight, or was it something you spent a lot of time talking about your sister? And I have an older brother who's my hero. I'm very, very tight with my sister, and being in a chair, I use an electric wheelchair for mobility, and I love sports my whole life, but I see sports from a different angle because I'm the ultimate fan, I guess you will. But I have this ability to really watch and understand from the sidelines, but because of where I sit, I haven't been able to play in the game. But you're able to play in the game. What does it feel like, I guess? Tell me about that during the game and go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, when I first, got into basketball, it was nothing special. I mean, I wasn't good at it. And I think basketball is something that I love because it's something that really challenges me. I think no matter how much time I put in, it's something that's it's hard for me. And I think, some people, basketball comes naturally to them, and that's not me in any way, shape, or form, but that's okay. I just got to work more for it. And so I think basketball, 3rd and 4th grade was pretty much a joke. I mean, I really was not good at basketball at all. And so I was kind of just there. And then 5th grade, I ended up having a really, really great coach that just really taught all the girls on the team how to truly play the game of basketball. I think oftentimes when you're at a younger age, a lot of coaches just kind of have you out doing random stuff. But I think once you have that one person kind of build a strong foundation for you, that's kind of where you can learn, and it really can only go up from there. And that's what happened. And I think after fifth grade, it started getting a little bit more competitive, and I played on more competitive AAU teams, and here I am.
Great. You talk about that one coach. What are some of the things that really stick out to you that one coach said, or habits that coach did, to get you started, to keep you on track?
Yeah, so that was Coach Monil for me in fifth grade. And he was someone who he worked with me, before practice, after practice. He just wanted to show me, he really helped kind of teach me the game. No one in my family really played basketball. Like my parents didn't really know how to play basketball. And so it was kind of nice to have someone that was just, you need someone to help kind of teach you the game and how to play defense and how to shoot the ball properly and how to dribble. Having someone help you through that was really awesome. And he would play one-on-one with me, and he would teach me how to drive and how to do different things. And so just having people that are taking interest in you and taking interest in helping you achieve what you want to do is really incredible.
Yeah, it's such a difference. I mean, so many people in my life, I always am so thankful that my parents, my brother, my sister, they didn't put me in a corner because I was in a chair. They knew that I was special because of me, not because of the chair or anything else. And it sounds like that coach was really awesome for you, giving you an opportunity, number one, but putting in the time and caring about, you as a person and really wanting you to get better. So that makes it nice and gives you the confidence that you can do anything. Talk about what basketball has done for you, just giving you the confidence to be independent, to do something special. Like, your podcast is really amazing. Again, talk to me about what basketball has done for you from a confidence standpoint.
Yeah, I think basketball, like I said, is something that's it's challenging for me. And I think it requires a lot more work. And I think if I'm able to do things on the basketball court, that just translates to my life in other aspects, whether that's in school or just with my relationships. Like I just feel more confident as myself because of the work that I put in and the things I'm able to do on the basketball court. I think it's all transferable. And I think more than that, the biggest thing I've learned is like work ethic. And I think I've built a really great work ethic from basketball just because I've had to put in a lot of time to get to where I am today. And so kind of transferring that to school and being able to work hard in certain subjects, I think has really come from me having to put that work in for basketball.
Definitely. I know in college and even in my professional career, I'm not always the smartest person out there, but I believe strongly in a hard work ethic. And I feel that the work ethic is the most important thing. You can always teach somebody, but you can't teach somebody the hard work, the grit, the gut, and the hustle that you display every day. Talk to me about what's next for you. What do you want to continue to do basketball wise, social media wise? I know you talked about expanding She Can Ball every day and just getting quality guests on there. Talk to me about what you want to keep on doing next. I know you've planned it out and you've thought it in your head.
Yeah, I think I definitely am a big playing person. I want to have everything, sorted out. And I think right now I don't know what that is. I don't know whether that's, playing college basketball or whether that's not, whether it's pursuing journalism or pursuing something else. So I really don't know what's next for me. And I think I'm going to find that out as I go. My plan and I think I was someone who was like, I have to have everything planned out and I need to know what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to accomplish anything. But I think what I really need to do is just make sure I'm working hard every day in the things that I'm passionate about, right? So whether that's with my podcast, with school, with basketball, so that, eventually I think the paths will show and once I get to that stage in life, it'll just be clear what I want to do.
Well, I know whatever you put your mind to, you're going to kill it, and you are killing it. What are some of the biggest challenges that you find today?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of challenges I face, whether that's with She Can Ball and my basketball journey. Starting with basketball, I mean, like I said, it's been a challenging, just something that it's required a lot of work. And I think that I'm going to continue to do that. And basketball is always going to be something that's never just going to come easy to me. It's going to require a lot of work. And I've struggled with that. And I think with She Can Ball, it's just been rough, not always having that response or not always being able to find guests as quickly as possible. That's been really, really hard for me. Just knowing that, okay, you have to keep reaching out to people and I have to keep finding people to talk to, because it can be rough when you get when you just don't get a response and you're reaching out for a whole day and then you wake up the next day and no one responded to your email. So I mean, that's going to happen though, and I think that it's important that you just have a mindset of, I'm just going to keep going, especially when you have something that's kind of dependent on other people. I think she can ball something where I can't do much by myself. I'm dependent on guests to come on to make the episode, and so it's just about having that right mindset and knowing that everything's going to work out as long as you keep putting in that work.
Yes, and you put in that work. What are some advice strategies you give to young girls your age and even people that are older? I think you've said it all along. The constant thread here is the hard work and dedication. No matter what it is, you got to put in the time. And I say all the time, being great's not for everybody. So it's really a focus, a mindset of, hey, what do I want to accomplish here? How do we do it? And to not get distracted. How do you stay focused?
I think I have a really good support system. My family's been really, really supportive in whatever I do. My mom specifically, whether that be with basketball or with the podcast, I mean, she's always supporting me. She's always listening. She's always at my games, taking me to practices. And I think it's just having people that believe in you. You don't want to let them down, And I think that, and I'm sure you can relate with your family and stuff. And I kind of want to ask you a couple questions, just because I think you've had an incredible career with CanDo. I mean, how do you overcome adversity? How did you kind of overcome your challenges?
I look at challenges real honestly as opportunities. I look at it as, okay, here's in front of me. We can either sulk and feel bad about ourselves, or we can move forward and do something about it. And when you move forward and do something about it, you're not only accomplishing something, but you're building confidence and you're inspiring others. And you talk about love and support. My family and friends have been absolutely incredible. There's no way in this entire world I would be who I am if it weren't for those, my family and friends. And literally, I'm grateful every day for them, and they really motivate me to be who I am. Again, we talked about earlier in the show, I'm just so thankful that nobody put me in the corner because I was in a wheelchair. They knew that I was special. They knew that I could do it. And quite frankly, I just kept it simple. I just wanted to be like my brother and my sister out there playing with their friends and being like just another kid out there. I didn't look at it was like, oh, you got to feel bad for Adam. He's in a chair. I just wanted to get out there and do life. Life is fun. It's much better in the game of life than on the sideline. You'd much rather play, right?
Yeah.
And it was always, that's why we came up with the CanDo. My parents always said, it's about what we can do, not what we can't. And it was very simple. Just that very simple mantra that just to get after it, have fun, enjoy life. Don't take yourself too seriously. Set attainable goals. Because if you're able to reach those goals, that builds confidence. And confidence is the key to success, in my opinion. If you keep going out there and every day you can improve, or every day you get out of your comfort zone and improve a little bit, you're doing better.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it's definitely easier said than done. I mean, you've created such an amazing company. I mean, what was kind of your first step in creating CanDo?
Well, great question. So the first part was, I was really, really overweight. I was about 60 pounds overweight, and I had always tried certain diets and things really never clicked for me. And I came out to help my brother rehab from a major injury, and everybody said, Adam, you got to check out surfing. Well, being in Southern California, I said, well, let's try it. Again, the can-do attitude. And I was so excited and so fired up by the people and the volunteers. And I said, you know what? If I was in better shape, I could do more of these things. And it wasn't that I was a big junk food eater well, you're sitting in a chair. You're not burning as many calories. Let's say you're running around shooting free throws all day or running wind sprints. So I just focused on my diet and I looked at what I was eating and taking out of my body. And it was really based along keto diet. And so I said to my brother, who's been in marketing and branding for 25 years, and said, why don't we look at creating a keto bar? I've been losing a bunch of weight on this so-called keto diet. This was 3 years ago, and things were just starting to happen. And so we came out with the chocolate mint bar, the chocolate raspberry, and almond butter. And literally, I would go door to door, with the bars, doing demos. And, it was really critical for us for the bar to have that great taste. Because if things don't taste good in the food business, you're not going to buy it. It may have nutritional value, but it's got to taste good in our opinion. So we really focused on number one, taste and texture. And then number two, we built it around the keto macros, which is low carb, low sugar, higher in fat. And even if you're not keto, you still want, to stay away from carbs and sugars as much as possible. And then, CanDo kind of just fit, because life is all about what we can do. And everybody has a CanDo story where they think, yes, I'd love to do that, but they have some kind of doubt, but they go for it, they get it done. And that leads into my questions for you. So far in your life, what is your biggest CanDo story, or something that you're most proud of?
I think that would definitely have to be the podcast, because I definitely think there were doubts at the beginning because I was afraid that people wouldn't want to come on, or people wouldn't take me seriously just because of my age. And I think that definitely did happen, but I found people that believed in me and believed in my purpose, and people wanted to come on, and that kind of led to another. And I think once you have a few notable guests, you can kind of use that to your advantage. And that's what I did. And I just kept growing and going, and here I am.
I got to tell you, we touched on it early in the show. I'm amazed at your persistence, your knowledge, the way that you speak to the guests, and your great questions and your research. And we use the term inspiring all the time, but it really is. And hats off to you, and hats off to your family for their support. And I would just say, keep kicking ass. I mean, because it really is awesome what you're doing, and the sky's the limit. I would ask you, where do you? I mean, kind of touched on it before. You want to focus on the podcast, just have a platform for people, but where do you kind of see yourself in 10, 15 years?
I have no idea, because I have so many different interests, and I'm really interested in business. And I think what's been really cool with the podcast is being able to experience that marketing aspect and learning how to grow the podcast, reaching out to companies and working out sponsorships. That's been super cool and super interesting to me. And I never even thought of that as a career choice, because I'm someone who, I just don't know what I want to do. Because there's some days where I'm like, oh my gosh, being a doctor would be so cool, or going into business would be cool, but that's definitely an option. And I think I've had good experience with that as far as she can ball, whether I want to play basketball or whatever that may be. I truly do not know.
Well, and you know what? It's great that you don't know, because there's so many cool things, and things may change on a day-to-day basis. And what I think is so incredibly awesome and motivating is you've got your hands in all of these cool things. So you're trying, you're learning every day, you're getting better, whether it's basketball, whether it's doctor, whether it's podcast, whether it's figuring out how to get more listenership. You're figuring it all out, and you didn't know. And as you were telling me the story, I see the smile in your face, and it gets me so excited. It's really awesome. Really awesome. What other questions do you have for me?
Oh, I know that you guys recently got into Costco. I mean, that's such a big deal. So congrats on that. I mean, what was it like to close out a big deal like that?
It's a great question, and one I'll never forget. I was, we're fortunate enough to be partners with Whole Foods as well. And I was in a Whole Foods here locally, and the buyer from Costco actually called me directly on my cell phone. And I was with our CEO, and I was just so, like, I literally started crying in the aisle of the bar section, because I was just so excited and so thankful, because they have so many choices to choose from, customers, buyers alike, and for them to trust us, to be on the floor, and the reputation that Costco has, it's extremely humbling. And again, same strategy with you, is just being persistent, showing that you care, which that's the biggest thing to me. Relationships are everything. And I'm just so grateful, for all the relationships that I have and we have as a team and all of our teammates, that none of this is possible without the great teammates that we have. And just, that day getting into Costco was one I'll never forget. And it took an army and I'm just so thankful.
Yeah.
So thankful. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was such a big deal. And congrats to you and hats off to you. I mean, I think that's such a big deal. And yeah, I mean, what do you think was kind of the biggest challenge that you faced in your career?
The biggest challenge, again, I would say is an opportunity of the unknown, just not knowing. But like my brother has always been an incredible role model, and our dad, just kept, my mom, every family and friends just keep going. And I always, once we get, for example, with the bars, we got into the small stores. I said, well, let's try this store. I'm very aware of people. I love people. My passion is people. So I think, like, for example, you bring up the thing with Costco. I always had a vision with Costco because the Costco members are very intelligent. They're very value oriented, and they want high quality ingredient product. And Keto Crisp at CanDo touches all those boxes. So that's why it felt like it was a great fit. Now, I didn't know what I was doing, but I reached out to the certain people and just kept after it and just kept reaching out and just showing the numbers at the other retailers that we were doing and showing, just say, hey, just try it, and fortunately got an opportunity. But it all comes down to the hustle. You really got to have that hustle and the will to never give up and to never quit, and I'll never quit. Some days you're better than others. I mean, we're human, right? So, but every day you got to try to move the needle forward. And as long as you're doing that, you're doing okay.
Yeah, no, so true. And I think your story is extremely inspiring to young entrepreneurs that are looking to do this. And, maybe that's a field I want to go into. So
yeah. What product would you create?
That's a great question. I think food related products are cool. I think I would probably create hydration drinks that are like low in sugar, because I know that there's a lot of like hydration drinks out there with artificial flavors. So like have one with natural flavors that taste good.
Yes. Well, that's great. And I know that if you wanted to do that and you put your mind to it, I know you're gonna get there. And I can't thank you enough for coming on. I'm just really, really impressed with what you've done. How did you find Keto Crisp? I got to ask you that.
I found you guys through Instagram.
Right. What attracted you to us?
The almond butter attracted me. I love almond butter so much. Every day I actually eat an almond butter, and one of my friends, she makes really good peach jam. So I have that almond butter and peach jelly. Everyone's like, oh, what are you eating? Like peanut butter and jelly? And I'm like, no, this is different. Because I love almond butter, and I think that it's just so much better than all other nut butters. And so I know that you guys incorporate that into a lot of your bars. So
well, that's good. So is our almond butter your favorite bar?
I have not gotten the chance to try CanDo yet.
What?
I know.
You got to text me your address right now.
Yeah.
Right now, while we're on this podcast, I'm sending you bars. I'm swagging you out. Everything. But I'm so excited for you to try. I'm honored for you to be on the podcast. Please, you got to promise me you'll keep doing your great work, because it is absolutely amazing what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I want to give you a high five and a hug, because that's the kind of person that I am. I hope I get a chance to watch you play basketball one of these days, but I'm certainly going to follow you on your She Can Ball podcast. Tell me, if you could have dinner with any professional athlete living today, who would it be? And I think I know the answer. And have you had dinner with that person yet?
I have not. I've not even met Steph Curry yet, but that's next. That's next to have him on the podcast and get to meet him and tell him that the impact that he's had on my life. And I know that one day it's going to happen. I'm just waiting for it.
Do you go get? And I knew it was going to be Steph Curry. I assume you've gone to a couple of his games already.
Yeah,
And you haven't met him yet.
not yet.
You will though. It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
That's great. I love it. I'm a huge Steph Curry fan. I mean, he has revolutionized the game of basketball.
For sure.
It's amazing what he's done, and he's so fun to watch. And he's a total team guy. I haven't met him either, but I'm a huge fan of his, and it'll be exciting one day. I hope I'm on your list of 100 that you call. You say, Adam, we had dinner with Steph Curry tonight. It was unbelievable. I'm so excited.
Adam, if I do that, I'll have you there with me.
Oh, I like that even better. But I want to make sure you get out there because that's what makes me so excited. Do you play any other sports? Just curious.
No, just basketball.
Right. Well, tell me one of your most memorable games.
Ooh, that's a hard question. I feel like there's a lot. There is one game I remember. It was like the very first game of the season. I think I had like 18 points, and it was just a fun game. And I wasn't thinking, I wasn't nervous. There was none of that. I just went out and played my game, and it was really, really fun. That was pre-COVID and stuff, and my mom was there. It was just a great game, and I remember that day because after the game we went out and got ice cream, and it was a really great moment for me to lead my team to get that dub because it was like a big game. I remember we were leading up to it, and it was like the other team. This was not the first game. I apologize. This was like a game it was like I think in the middle of our season, and it was like a pretty big team, and so it was just nice to be able to lead my team to that victory.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember, growing up watching my brother play sports. He was, always a freshman playing the varsity, whether it be football, basketball, or baseball. Wow. And it was my favorite thing in the world to do. And my nephew is your age, and he starts on the varsity in Connecticut, and he played his second game yesterday. Not yesterday, the other day. I'm going to brag a little bit. He had 9 points in a row, which was incredible. Wow. He's 6'4", and it's just, I can't wait to get to the East Coast to watch him play. And I watch it on YouTube. Thank God for technology, but it's so fun to be at the games, and you think about that. And I remember, I was the manager for our high school varsity team. I went to all the games, all the practices. I even wore a uniform thinking that my coach would call my name and I'd be able to get into the game. And I loved it. So soak up every minute of it. Enjoy it all. I'm so, so proud of you. I'm honored to have you on today. Thank you for sharing your CanDo moment, and just keep plugging away at it. Like I said, kicking butt. You're doing great, and thanks again.
Thank you.